You're listening to the Call Kent podcast, where Kent C. Dodds answers questions and gives insights to software engineers like you. Now, let's hear the call.
Hi Kent, my name is Peter and I am a front-end developer. At my company, there are way more backend developers than front-end. Basically, we are only two, and all our applications are SPAs. My question and my challenge is that I tried to convince my colleagues and bosses several times to move away from SPAs. I would spam them with articles and videos on why and how to use NextJS, and lately I am doing the same with Remix, but it always ends with some kind of a fear of running Node.js on the servers. Now, but nobody at my company has expertise in it, and all they know about Node.js is that it is slow and will just complicate our lives since it is just an extra layer we will need to support ourselves. Everything we do is self-hosted, so an external service is not an option for us. Do you have any tips or recommendations for a situation like this? I feel the best way would be to rewrite one of our applications in my free time and show them, but that would take me simply ages, as our main application is huge and several years old already. Anyway, thank you for your work and have an awesome day. Bye.
And that was the call. Here's what Kent had to say.
Hey there, Peter. Thank you so much for the question. It's a great one and it's very common. So I've got a bunch of thoughts. So for one thing, there's something that you can do today to get a lot of benefit out of Remix, and that is to upgrade to the latest version of React Router, version 6.4 plus. Because in version 6.4, a bunch of features of Remix got added to React Router. Now, it's not server rendered, and so you're not going to get all of the excellent user experience benefits, and there's no conventional file-based routing, so you miss out on that. But for everything else, you'll have like a little bit of boilerplate of configuring routes and stuff, because there's no file-based routing. But some people like that. Outside of that, there's not really a bunch of difference between using React Router and Remix. Again, because there's no server, there are a lot of features that Remix offers that you're not going to get. But even with that, it's the easiest way to migrate over to Remix eventually anyway. And so if you do expect that one day you will be able to use Remix, then migrating over to or upgrading, I'm assuming that you're probably using React Router if you're doing a SPA and it's React. But upgrading to the latest version of React Router and starting to use loaders and actions for all of your data loading and mutations is a really great first step. And in fact, somebody just messaged me the other day and said that they followed our migration guide that we had, and it worked out great for them. They migrated iteratively over the course of a year. So yeah, that works and it's great. So then, if as far as convincing people to ship Node, you actually don't have to, because there are, and I understand that you have this aversion to services and things, so this may not work out. But even CDNs have the ability to run code at the edge on those CDN servers, and I'm guessing like maybe you're using a CDN. If you're not, then that's a pretty quick win, but I understand if you just really don't want to use external services, I suppose. But yeah, if you are using a CDN, maybe check to see if it supports running code at the edge. Many CDNs do. The Cloudflare is really popular with this Cloudflare Workers thing. Fastify or Fastly has their a compute at edge. And Akamai has edge. Oh, I can't remember what their thing is called, but they do have an edge code execution thing, so you can run Node on the Akamai CDN, which is very widely used in the enterprise world. So yeah, that could be another option. And then another thing to make sure that your backend engineers understand is that it's using a serverlet for your front-end application does not mean that you're going to be replacing their existing backend, whatever that's written in. Because it doesn't necessarily mean that. Like, it could, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, because a lot of people are deploying Remix as a backend for the front end type of architecture. This type of architecture is something that I did even at PayPal way before Remix was a thing, and it's great. It's just a way to allow the front-end engineers to have a little bit more control over what is happening over the wire, giving a bit better performance and things. So that could be one concern that they may have, is like, well, I don't want to write in JavaScript or TypeScript or whatever. And so you can say, no, you don't have to. This is just a server for me. And I will still be communicating with the existing APIs that you've written and all of that. So yeah, I hope that is helpful to you. I suppose, like, as far as convincing people to do it, there are very tangible benefits from both a user and developer experience standpoint. And so you could, like, depending on what your situation is, like, maybe you don't really care about a couple extra milliseconds here and there on the speed. Lots of logged in apps, people don't prioritize performance over speed of development or other things. But if the performance is very important, then you can talk about that. It's a very good way to get very, very fast user experience. But also the developer experience is phenomenal. But again, you get a lot of that just by upgrading to React Router 6.4. And I should mention that the documentation for migrating or upgrading to the latest version of React Router is very good. There's a compatibility package, so you can run both old version and new version at the same time. It's really, really great. And then once you get upgraded to the latest version of React Router, then migrating over to Remix is actually pretty straightforward as well. So yeah, I would start with that. Just upgrade to the latest version of React Router, and all the while you're doing that, just kind of help the other engineers understand the real benefits of this and what to expect if this were to be implemented. I hope that helps. Have a nice day.
This has been the Call Kent podcast. Learn more about Kent at kentcdodds.com and get your own questions answered at kentcdodds.com/calls.